All right. So, sorry about that.
We're on the air.
Late delay. Yep. A little late delay there.
Nice talk up.
Thanks, man. Yeah. But anyway, let's listen to a little bit of my friend. He's going to be showing up a little later on. This is all music show today. My friend Joe Alexander's here. Wave to your mom. There's the camera over there. And my friend Vince Buffa is going to be calling in later on. We went to high school together.
We're going to talk to this guy, this famous guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to talk to both these guys. I asked George Rodriguez. I guess I could call you my producer, but
I am your producer in one capacity or another. You know, even if somebody else is sitting here, I'm still the executive producer. How's that?
Perfect. And he's going to help me out on the show today, just because he's so smart and witty and he knows what he's doing. And
aw shucks.
Yeah.
You forgot to say cute.
I know. I forgot to say that, didn't I? What do you think about that? All right, so let's listen to a little bit of Vince Buffa, and we'll be right back, all right?
For the rich are so seedy, and for the bitch who is greedy, and for the desperate and the needy. But what can you say? Say it loves radioactive hair, the tips are fucking a pair. But what can you say? But have a nice day. Oh, what can you say? Say it loves LA. Say it loves LA. Say it loves LA. Say it loves LA. You gotta love LA. Say it loves LA. Say it loves LA.
All right, everybody, welcome to this edition of my show on the radio, Rick's show on the radio. I'm Rick Santese. How are you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
That's
Thank
my
you for
friend.
asking.
George Rodriguez is helping me out. George?
It's an all Rodriguez show today.
That's right, because we have another Rodriguez here, sorta, right?
Yeah, that's my last name.
Okay, Joe, you got to
little
talk
closer?
right into
All
that
right.
microphone there, nice and loud.
Yeah, my last name is Rodriguez, but I go by Joe Alexander as an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking a little bit about the name Rodriguez there, and you guys, George, you were elaborating
about,
as to your
El
whiteness,
Cid and
right?
his son Diego, and how European we are. Well, we all started out white, and then you came to America, and what can you say? You take a liking to the Indians sometimes. take a shine.
Yeah.
Some of the Indians, and there you go. Sometimes they don't want you to take a shine to them, in the case.
Yeah, but you shine them anyway.
You shine them anyway.
Yeah.
That's what we did. Yeah, a lot of that.
There was some rape and pillaging. Yeah.
Raping and pillaging.
Well,
yeah.
that's what the Europeans did. We made it fashionable. We were doing that, raping the Indians before it was fashionable, and look what happened.
Yeah.
I went back in time and warned them not to do that. They wouldn't listen to me.
Did you warn yourself back in time?
The one of the previous Rodriguez's I did. I said if you continue the raping, though, they're going to take away your white status, and they wouldn't listen. They whatever. That's that's going to bother you, not me.
But you say the Rodriguez's are like the affluent of
We're the aristocracy, the blue bloods.
Did you know that,
blue
Joe?
noses.
I definitely. I'm always reminded by my father about that. Yeah.
Does he remind you in the context? How come you're not rich? You're supposed to be rich.
No, not really, because he's not rich either. So.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't hammer you on that. All right. Well, thanks for coming to the show.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. So you're a local musician, songwriter, right?
Local musician, songwriter. It's been a while since I've gone out and done any gigs since my son was born about 5 years ago. I kind of went on a little hiatus, and now I'm getting back into it, and hopefully we'll start playing some clubs around again. But I used to play jazz at Automatic Slims.
Jazz, huh? Oh, looks like you got a phone call. We're going to answer any phone calls, anybody calling into our show here. So, not to interrupt you, Joe, but you want to take a phone call? I think somebody's trying to call in. Hello, who's this?
Hey, it's me, Dominic. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Dominic!
What's up,
Hey,
Dominic?
man. How's it going? Welcome to the show.
Yes, I thought I'd call Joe and say, hey, Joe, what you doing with that gun in your hand?
Yeah. By the way, what are you doing?
Going down to shoot my old lady.
Oh, no wonder. That's a good answer for that. Dominic, Dominic's calling in because Dominic Daly's been on the show a bunch of times. He's an actor, but he's also a really, really good musician, drummer, and you guys are working together, right, Joe?
Exactly. Dominic got to hear a little bit of my music through my wife, who was a co-actor with him.
Right.
And he took a liking to the songs, and then and from there we started talking about getting something together and working together, and there you go. And
So what do you think? What do you think there, Dominic?
Well, the music? Oh,
Yeah.
it was great. When I first, when Jules handed over me the CD, there's like 14 cuts on the CD, and every song on it is good. I mean, and it's a nice variety of styles. You can see Joe's influences, the kind of music that he likes there. It's real good stuff. It rocks. There's some, nice ballads in there, or some like power ballads, whatever. And but what I liked about it was that if you listen to the CD, he lets the drums and the guitar shine. It's almost like the band is, like doing a live show instead of just in the studio, which is really cool. And the energy they captured on the CD was great. I mean, the drums are he lets them free, and that's what I like.
Good.
Nothing was restrained or anything, and the CD rocks. I don't know if you had a chance to play it because I can't hear it on my end, but if you heard some cuts,
We're gonna play some in a little bit here, and Joe's got his guitar. He's gonna play a little for us too as well.
Oh, cool, great.
Yeah. So, did you guys had the rehearsals already?
We had our first rehearsal last week. I think it went pretty well. It was, I was dusting off myself as a musician, and I was really impressed with Dominic's play and Dominic's work. He really caught on really well with the songs. I mean, they're simple rock songs, but he caught the energy of it, and for me the energy is very important, and he seems to understand the concept I approached the album with, which was the drums and the guitar had to really be a big sound, a nice sound, and had to drive sort of the album, and it does. So and he really caught on really well, so it was a really good, I thought it was a pretty good first practice.
Yeah, no, it felt great. We got another one tomorrow, and it felt good. It was like a feeling out process that night, and we kind of clicked really well. I mean, his wife Jules is super to work with. She's got a great energy when we work in the play together. And it's the same thing with the music. I think even more so. I think that's kind of our first love.
Great.
But it felt really, really good, and I just can't wait to see. I want to put in some more time, learn some more songs, and get us out there and do some gigs.
All right. What's your favorite track on that album there?
I like the first cut. It's on the Candles and Box Full of Dreams. And then there's Promised Land. There's also There She Goes. There's a lot of great cuts on there. There's what is the other one? Miami, which is a super, super song. Like I said, anyone you pick on there is there. But I do like the first cut, though. It's a rocker.
All right. Well, let's play it for a little bit then. Thanks for calling in, man.
You betcha, man. Hey, Joe, I'll see you tomorrow, man. And
all right, Dominic.
on the show there.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you
All
tomorrow.
right,
Bye,
Dominic.
Hey,
Daniel.
brother. Have a good one.
Now let's listen to a little bit, Joe Alexander. What's the name of the song?
There's only candles in a box full of dreams.
All right.
I wanna give life to your empty
All right, Joe Alexander. That's some pretty good guitar-oriented kind of stuff you got going there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was very important for the drums and the guitars to stick out and to sort of get that big sound. If you notice, also the drum sounds really big.
Yeah.
Those are the type of sort of albums that I enjoyed growing up. Especially the rock albums, like the Led Zeppelin albums.
Sure.
And we mentioned earlier, maybe some of the British rock that came out in the 90s, had that big sort of drum and guitar sound, like that wall of sound, and
Yeah. I'm a bass player myself, played down in the area for a long time, and I played with a bunch of, different kind of bands, original bands. I played with some, the kind of, I call them higher echelon rock bands that have like keyboards and do like more elaborate type of songs and, that type of stuff. And then I would play with like a 3-piece, original band where it's just like balls to the wall, and then you play differently. It's a different kind of feel.
It is a different kind of feel, and I think it's you just let the songs speak for themselves, and you lay the ego aside of who wants to stick out more as far as sophistication and stuff like that, and just you focus on the overall song and the lyrics and the music and the melody, and that will speak to people. I think. I mean, that's what spoke to me when I was growing up. So.
Yeah, great. I see you brought your guitar. We do have our camera here, so anybody that's tuning in can listen and watch live. Let's everybody wave to their mom, of course. Hello, everybody.
Mom.
How's it going?
My mom doesn't watch English language programming.
Hey.
Oh, that's right, because
She's not Hispanic. Yeah.
Hola.
There you go.
That's
now
the
she'll
same.
watch. Yeah. She'll forget that she watched 5 minutes from now, but still.
My mom's watching the telenovela right now. That's what she's
Right, there you go. That's
Well,
it.
I know my wife in Ireland is watching. Hey, Caroline.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Hey, I figured out a really funny thing about that is that, she's from Ireland, of course, right? So she only has an Irish accent, but whenever I don't want to understand what she's saying, or I'll say, "I'm sorry, honey, I don't understand you. You're speaking Irish to me now." And she goes, "Oh, feck off." F-E-C-K.
Yeah, is that how they say it there?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
I'm going to start using that.
It's cute. Hi, honey. You're going to give me shit about that later. But no, she'll be speaking Irish to me later, and I won't understand her either, so it'll be all right. So, yeah, Joe. So, you brought your guitar here. It's a nice ovation you got. You going to play a little song for us, too?
Sure. I'll play Promised Land for you guys. This is a song that I wrote. It was like the third probably song that I started recording when I was recording the album, and a lot of the lyrics came from I just remember after 9/11, just the extreme sort of promotion. I'm a high school teacher, so I remember when the high school that I was in, there was so much sort of campaigning to get kids into the military, and this is this pride thing. Remember there was the NFL player who went into, who went to the military too and went to the war, and he died.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, and it kind of like made me think about that, and I've always worked in sort of low social economic areas, so the lyrics sort of were inspired by that.
Okay, let's hear it then.
Sure.
Thanks, Joe.
What's wrong with all you holy people? Don't you notice I'm on my knee? The sacrificial lamb that saves me crucifies me and other human beings for the grail you seek. do it again? They rape you and lie and take your promised land. How long will you do it again? They rape you and lie and take your promised land. Take your promised land. Man, I wish I was like you. Gouch laughing out loud in his greasy suit. What I don't know won't hurt that much. Who'll save the land that screams in God we trust? If I must, how long will you do it again? They rape you and lie and take your promised land. How long will you do it again? They rape you and lie and take your promised land. And take this promised land. And wondering what more. Take my life, my reason to be. One man's passion is another one's greed. Watch them slowly bleed. Do it again. They rape you and lie and take your promised land. How long will you do it again? They rape you and lie and take your promised land. And take this promised land. Do it again? How long will you do it again? How long will you do it again? How long will you do it again?
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Well, that was so. You find it you like songs that are like socially relevant, or
well, it's interesting because I don't. Yeah, that's important to me. The things that I observe in life, I'm gonna write about them. But it's kind of like I was reading recently Bob Dylan's Chronicles, and it's interesting because he never wanted to be considered like a martyr for any political movement. He just said he wrote just based on the things he experienced, but it wasn't like he was trying to be a martyr of any kind.
Right.
And I think you don't necessarily, as a songwriter, I think you don't necessarily sit there and go, scream for a cause. I mean, unless you're Bono or something, I don't know. But you're not there necessarily. I think if you're sensible and you care, you certain things that you read about and that you watch in the news and that you hear about, affect you one way or another, regardless of what your political, beliefs are or whatever your approach is. I'm considered more of a moderate in my political beliefs, but I'm not very political, to be honest with you. I don't really like.
Some of my friends are. They've become really political, either like really left wing or really right wing. But I don't know. I think most of us are kind of like somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
With both tendencies of both
Yeah,
You know?
I just think whatever is best for an individual or for a country or for whatever. the
Yeah,
case
but
may
as far
be.
as like writing music, though, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to write a song. A lot
Yeah.
of, like impress a girl or talk about somebody you love or.
I think whatever affects you sort of emotionally, spiritually, and
Maybe you want to go to Funky Town.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
you
right.
want to go to
Yeah.
Funky
It's a
Town.
really cool
exactly.
sounding place to go. So
Yeah,
Can you take me down there?
Yeah.
and
Would
yeah,
you? Because I don't know the way to Funky Town, but
whatever
I'd love to
moves
go.
you.
I'd love to go.
Whatever moves you.
Yeah, and some of those songs are like, some of the most famous songs are like about kind of nothing,
Sure.
Yeah, right.
That's about a sailor.
The bird is the word. How about that song? That's
Yeah. Have you heard?
I have heard that the bird
Okay.
is the word.
That's right.
And anybody know what that song was ever about, George?
The bird.
Bird and its word.
Well, you go.
right.
That's what it was about. I think that was a gospel song. Actually, is what it really is.
I went. Yeah.
Did you know?
Went to that church. Yeah. It
The
was.
Church of the Bird.
Well,
Word.
was
Word of the
Devil? Was that the
we
Devil
were
of the
into
Holy
animals,
Spirit?
and we did a lot of snake handling, and and then of course there were birds too.
Of course, there has to be birds because the bird
is the word.
Indeed, he
Consider
is.
the birds of the air. That's in the book of Matthew. The lilies.
I do
the
consider
lilies.
that.
Yeah,
Especially these days.
that's right.
Anyway, So anyway, social activism is a good outlet for music. A lot. I see a lot of people, especially young ladies these days, are in their little guitars and want to talk about the earth or something
Yeah.
like that. Which is great. I love that stuff. From Joni Mitchell all the way. I mean, we can go down the street to the Cava Bar there and listen to some really
yeah.
good, some social active music.
A lot of those people have been on SoFlo, the Kava Bar people, the
Yeah.
musicians, sure.
Yeah.
Nog Champion's been on the station like 2 or 3 times.
Awesome. Yeah, so I enjoyed that very much, and I look forward to. Now, you say that some of your influences were in jazz, though. I know you got like a rock kind of vibe on this CD here,
Yeah.
but we only played one song, though. I mean, do you have a different gamut there? Is there more jazz stuff or what?
No, I mean, I can sort of give you my influences from way beginning.
Sure.
I come from a Colombian background, so my family always had Latin music playing everywhere. But when you're growing up in a Latin family, especially all my sisters were born in Colombia. I was born here, and you wanted to identify, sort of create your own identity. I don't know. You heard the music around you from your family, but you were attracted. You wanted something else. So I would say that the first rock song that just blew my face it was because my sisters would listen to Top 40 radio, and it was Joan Jett's "I Love Rock and Roll." And it was just the energy. I never seen a girl express herself that way, like kind of sexually and I was a little kid. I was a little boy, but it was like a big slap in the face. Like, wow, like that's awesome.
There's a
man.
girl singing that.
Girl singing that, and like the sexual energy and so it paved the way to me finding, just looking and finding more music, and so from there on I just started to listen to everything, so I've always enjoyed all types of music, even the stuff that my parents listened to. I appreciate it more now than I did when I was younger, but I listened to everything from Dylan to Springsteen to U2 to I can listen to the stuff my dad used to listen to, the tangos from Carlos Gardel. I mean, it's just this kind of stuff. Music for me has always been very important. I studied classical music at Miami-Dade College a little bit.
Okay.
So
that, And you played some jazz in town?
No, I never have. I mean, I have an appreciation for it. There is one cut in the album that's a little more bluesy. It's called Hand Blues. And I've always loved electric blues music. Everything from Muddy Waters to Buddy Guy.
So do you consider yourself coming from an old school or a new school approach to music? Because, a lot of people kind of embrace the, the newer vibe where, they get on their music software, Pro Tools, and they start, downloading, beats and samples, and you got a song all of a sudden.
I mean, I can appreciate that. I mean, like, when I first heard the Beastie Boys, there was a lot of sampling going on, and I enjoy the Beastie Boys, and I enjoy stuff. When I hear stuff now, some hip hop I can enjoy. I did part of my upbringing, I saw sort of the evolution of hip hop, so and I appreciate that a lot as well. So I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate sort of the modern way. Now DJs are ruling, sort of top 40 radio, and they're doing their thing, and they're having these big festivals, and a lot of them, believe it or not, they're musically trained too, and they know that's just their thing, and they're using it for marketing and to make money. So I can appreciate that too. But I love my classic rock and roll.
Do you work when you go into your studio? Do you like let other people handle the engineering stuff? Are you involved with any of the software, or are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Pro Tools. Like, we have Pro Tools at
yeah.
home, and we play around with that, and we record our stuff. And a lot of the stuff I did was on Pro Tools, and even some of the sounds that you hear are Reason. But we also used Gibsons, and we used Gretsch drums, and we used
it's interesting the way that music technology has evolved for just in the past, like since the 80s. Really, that's when it really came in with the MIDI musical instrument digital interface. I mean, I remember I was working at a music store in town, and we got in this big piano called a Kurzweil, right? And this thing was the latest and greatest. It was an electronic piano that sounded just like a grand piano. I mean, you couldn't tell the difference. That was a big deal. And it cost $10,000. And we had people buying it. $10,000 for this electric, and it sounded like a grand piano. Nowadays,
my phone could make that sound.
Yeah, his phone, can make. You get a program with Pro Tools, and you get every piano ever made is modeled into that, especially, which is another, when I get into this recording method here, that all the old school amplifiers and tape decks and all that, somehow they modeled these things. And then if you're using Pro Tools or, any one of these audio things.
Synthesizer app.
Yeah, show that to the fans there. Yeah, see, it's like
keyboard.
on your phone.
I can make it sound like a guitar.
You can recreate the vintage keyboards and vintage.
Yeah, there's just something seems sacrilegious about that.
Yeah.
You get a Fender Bassman amp. We used to put our microphones through that and sync it up, but you could digitally reproduce that now.
I think the more you become dependent on technology, the more I guess you lose a little bit of the ear for it. I mean, sound engineering I guess was more challenging back then, and you had to cut tape and stuff like that. And I mean now it's more efficient.
It is.
You can pull out a product a lot quicker because of the way technology's moved. But it's so funny to me that you listen to, like, let's say Prince's Purple Rain album. Yeah. And you hear that drum machine in there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
it's in all of his music.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the music he does for other people. It's like, that's Prince wrote that.
Yeah, you can tell.
Sheila E.
Yeah.
And you compare it to now, and they use, they'll use all types of digital music, but digital music sounds so much better now that they can get away with it.
Well, I have another guest who may or may not be calling in. He's one of our guests today, as a featured guest. He's a musician as well. Friend that I went to high school with. Cool. So we talk about how long ago. That was like in the 90s we went to high school. All right, no, it was the 70s. The 70s.
Wow.
And he really stuck to his guns with the old school stuff. As a matter of fact, he's got an actual reel-to-reel tape machine that he records on, not a digital representation of a.
I threw mine away.
It's amazing, But Vince, my friend Vince Buffa, he's another guest that will be playing some of his music here, and he may be able to call in and answer a couple of questions for us by the end of the show. But as a matter of fact, he records really old school, and you can tell his influence. He's very original, but you can tell that his stuff is recorded, in an old school manner. You won't hear any pitch changing or vocorders or anything like that. So let's play a song here from my friend Vince, and we'll talk a little bit about music technology and the difference between things that are recorded.
Any particular track? while it's loading up.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Let's
Track
listen
one.
to track 2.
Track 2? That's the
Yeah.
one you started the show with.
Oh, we did start that?
Yes, you
Okay.
did. Track
Well
3?
then, no. Track 1 was good. He's, I think he's got like a kind of a Beatle influence here. So
That's yeah, this
let's
is,
listen to
this
this
is
one.
Beatle-y,
Yeah, okay.
Beatlesque.
All right, let's listen to Vince Buffa here.
Penny was her name, they claim she slept on someone's floor. Many men are ashamed to say they've known her once before. I just want a little bit more. I just want a little bit more. Maya threw a party, Penny showed up with no clothes. This is what I wear to cover me when I'm exposed. I just want a little bit more. Give me just a teensy bit and I won't ask for more. Look down, penny on the ground, penny down, penny on the ground. Look down, penny on the ground, penny down, penny on the ground. Can you spare a little hit? I'm crippled and I'm cold. Maybe just a taste to grace my lips. You got my gold. I just want a little bit more. Give me just a teensy bit and I won't ask for more. Look down, penny on the ground, penny down, penny on the ground. Look down, penny on the ground, penny down, penny on the ground. Blood hound digging on a mound when I found penny in the ground. Upon a grave below a name, a penny
Okay, now you could tell that's recorded old school, can't you? I mean,
On a reel-to-reel machine.
on a reel-to-reel machine, especially with the mouth trumpet going
For real?
on there.
To real?
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's the thing about the music business now is just, I don't know. It just
Oh,
seems,
sorry. Excuse me. It just keeps right on going, doesn't it?
Seems like it's more like produced. You know, when I was growing up and influenced, I was going to school and learning in the 70s, and that was the dawn of.
It was a really awesome decade.
It was a good
was,
for music.
All over the place. The music was all over the place. You had
was.
you had you had the birth of heavy metal and disco was going on, which is funny. You had Black Sabbath and disco were like right there on the same radio station.
Yeah,
It was just
I know.
it was crazy, but it was like a lot of really good stuff was going on.
It was. I mean,
A lot
you
of
got
the
like King
stadium bands,
Crimson.
right.
You have Pink Floyd. Yes, all
Sure.
those types
Yeah,
of bands.
really
I think
big
you
bands.
I think it was a decade where you still had to have some musical credibility, and you were
Right.
not necessarily just a model up there. You
Right,
know,
right, being
posing,
produced.
posing as a singer, and posing
Right,
as
but
a-
also the thing that I noticed is that if you ever notice that a lot of bands write about that in the 70s, they write about their angst against the music machine that after they got signed up, it's like, welcome to the machine.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Pink Floyd.
And Queen
Right.
would write about the same thing.
Radio Gaga.
And
was
Have
it?
a Cigar was the same
Right,
thing with Pink
exactly. And it's and to me they were just crying out, you know, just indicating what's to come is that more
yeah.
and more music is just a product of a music machine and not so much a grassroots kind of thing like it started out with, I believe, with the blues and Elvis and the Beatles just kind of coming together with this magic. Now it's, and maybe I'm the old guy. Maybe
no,
I have
the
an old
industry
guy
really
attitude.
wants to control it, the
Yeah.
product. They want to keep things really nice and simple. Here's your product. Hop
Right.
it, eat it up, and you know.
Well, I think they feel that if they control it, they can generate more money out of it, and the fact that it would happen naturally to them is too much of a risk, I think, for them
Sure.
financially and stuff like that.
But-
The industry got too greedy, and then at the end now, there's nothing authentic out there as far as mainstream music is concerned, and it hurts because well, not necessarily, because I think the internet has helped us has helped us to look for maybe some underground music that you wouldn't hear in mainstream radio and you can do that, and you can find some pretty cool artists out there, and there's a lot of cool European acts as well that you can find, and
doing something different and new.
but man, you wish that there was just another like revolution of some kind in music that you would.
That's what rock and roll seemed to me to be like, especially like a real obvious example of what I'm talking about here is punk rock. I mean, the original punk rock in the 70s, which really, if we could have a whole show talking about
Sure.
punk rock and how long that movement lasted,
And
which
the,
is probably really a year and a half
and
or 2 years.
post-punk going into new wave.
Yeah,
and
that-
all
yeah, then
Buzzcocks, the Joy Division, and
Right.
Yeah,
But it seemed to me like that's the punk came out of a rebellion against
Sure.
highly produced music, like the Beatles and like the disco and all this stuff. And like those guys were laying,
Right.
I just,
England keeps resetting us. They keep coming with waves of invasions. They did the British invasion, and then they had the punk rock thing, and they're still doing it. They're still doing the 4-piece bands, and it's going to take some people to notice that it's going on, and there's going to be another wave. I
And
think
it's
gonna
awesome because
sweep.
if you sit there and listen to some of these bands like the Arctic Monkeys,
They're
and,
great. I love it.
they're-
Some in concert. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, they're awesome, and there's so much good music coming from there, and they seem to have understood where to take rock and roll better than, and we created rock and roll, but they seem to have understood how.
Do you know any? Do you do any covers, Arctic Monkeys?
No, not right. I gotta get my chops back.
I think
That'd be-
that kind of
next
music.
next party we find ourselves at. It's like
I'll play
I'll
some
sing,
Arc-
you play.
Okay.
We'll do, when the sun goes down.
I think
Yeah,
that
do that.
new original music like that will still have its place to be sold and listened to in the internet, but it's not going to ever be mainstream again, because if you want to be mainstream, you have to come through their channels and
yeah, but they don't control. They control the airwaves. They don't control the internet, and that's what That's why we exist, because the people are going to be attracted to whatever product.
Yeah.
Now that the internet is there, it's like they like the radio industry. They owned it. They owned a monopoly. They could really control everything that you were receiving, but now they can't. So the product is going to decide what is popular now.
Right. So that if you want to listen to something new and innovative, you're going to find it on the internet.
On YouTube.
Right.
YouTube is the biggest music resource for people now. You just if you hear about a song, you just Google it on YouTube, and there it is,
well,
with
I just
lyrics.
get a little worried because, people, especially they're creatures of convenience. And if we're not really into music and we don't want to go research and try to find new music, we'll turn the radio on, and then we're going to listen to this, and then we got this corporate machine saying, this is popular. This is what you like.
But
if you're not cool unless you like this,
they're using attitude and image to sell anymore. That's all they're using. But I'll give it a shot. I'll turn on Y100, for example. Within a half hour, they start repeating themselves. I've already heard the material, and it's all the same music that you hear at the roller rink that one would hear at the roller rink. It's really, you can catch up with whatever is going on right now by spending 1 hour listening to Y100.
And that's the thing. You're sort of being fed an image. You're being fed the same sort of style of music being repeated over. And
it's a cultural
interesting
thing. It's not just the music itself. It's a cultural thing. You have to like this, or else you're not.
But think of what I mean. It's a lot more pressure on a kid. I mean, I wouldn't say pressure, but more influential on a kid now, because they have so many ways of sending that image out to that kid, whether it's through the phone, whether it's through the
commercials,
everything.
It's
and
true.
a kid can easily get influenced by that a lot easier, as opposed to when you guys were teenagers, when you sought out music, you went to the record store.
we did.
But we relied on the radio, and the radio treated us right. We learned a lot about new music from the radio, and you really can't do that anymore. My two daughters, it's
that when DJs had freedom.
YouTube links. I found out this was Rick Shaw's hat, and Rick Shaw told me that they never had freedom. And Rick Shaw was a DJ since like 1950 something, and he said, I remember no time, and I never worked at any radio station where I was allowed to play what I want or say what I want. Yeah, everything was regimented from Marconi, from the day that radio was invented.
I think you were right back then in our day. I hate to say they play the old guy thing.
But the music director in those days actually made a concerted effort to find something new and fresh and be the first to play that.
Oh yeah, that's a different thing.
And there was a system in the station. There was a proofing system, and the music director would often poll people, drag people into the office, play things for people. They would create focus groups. They would bring people in from the outside and do like little test plays and things. And even right there on the air, they would test something and get listener feedback. That doesn't exist anymore.
No, I think they just. I don't think they bother with that. They just kind of tell everybody.
They just decide. They just decide what product they're going to push, and they push it.
They push it. They'll sit in a round table just like this, get the marketing people in, and okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to dress her up? How?
Yeah, I heard a horror story like about 10 or 15 years ago from a friend of mine who's in the music business, local guy. And there was a band called Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good band.
I remember
great songs. But he told me, he goes, oh, yeah, those guys, the thing about it is that, the record company signed them, right? And what they did was they withheld releasing, and, because they didn't want this music to compete with other stuff that they had. So what they did was they just kind of broke the band up by that and just used the songwriter to write songs for their people. Like that's what it's like now. That's what it is now. It's
Yeah,
Maybe
like-
you get
like
involved with a music
corporate
company.
rating of musicians. We're
Yeah.
gonna dismantle you and reassemble you in different
Right, and we'll
products
get the guy that's the
Yeah.
songwriter and get him away from the band and,
Sure.
and make him write
Offer him
songs
money.
for a girl that we have under contract.
Would you say that, at least in America, Nirvana was the last sort of revolution? And
like real good original band. Yeah, yeah, maybe Chili Peppers. Although they kind of leveled off once they all cleaned up. What's with that? You know, they all kick the smack and become all
all go to
flat and
rehab
start,
and then
and start
they-
singing love songs and ballads and just get really lame. You know. I
Well,
like
we're
it better
going
when
to
they were wearing
continue
socks.
discussion about music because that's my passion. I love music. I'm going to have maybe Joe can come on another time with Dominic and we could play some music together. Maybe my
Yeah.
friend Vince can call in
Jam right
another
on the air.
time. Yeah, because I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring my bass in and I'll just
That'd be
play.
a great show.
I'll just play bass.
Haven't done that
and
before.
I'll answer
We've
questions
just been hearing
on
about
the bass.
Rick Santee's the bass player.
Yeah, I'll just play the bass from now on. That's what how I'll speak.
Okay, you'll speak in bass.
I'll speak
Speak
in
in
bass.
bass.
It's all about the bass.
It is all about
I'll be
the bass.
treble.
No trouble.
No trouble. Okay, 'cause it was going to be treble, but then you said no
There's
trouble.
going to be
Yeah.
trouble. Joe, thanks for coming on to the show.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank
and
you.
we really we're looking forward to hearing what you and Dominic and your wife Julie come up with. And if you're looking for a bass player, maybe I'll come in and play a
All
little
right, that
bass if
sounds
you want.
awesome. Thank you.
But that's the show for this week. We got the subject of music is a big passion of mine, and I fully intend to bring some more people on.
Oh, no, that's what
Music aficionados, producers, songwriters, and we're going to talk more about the state of music these days. But that's for a future show. Again, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Joe Alexander.
Pleasure.
Hey, how can people get your music if they want to, by the way?
Well, I'm all over the place. I'm on Spotify. I'm on iTunes.
I'm on, so tell them so they know.
Rhapsody.
Joe Alexander. Is that how we look
Joe,
for?
you're looking for Joe Alexander. There's a bunch of Joe Alexanders out there, but Joe Alexander, you look me under Unlit Candles or Unlit Candles in a Box Full of Dreams. That's the album that's out there. We're working on new stuff. I'm working on new songs, so hopefully in the next year I'll have more music out there. But I also have a Facebook. If you want to look me up under Joe Alexander, I have a Facebook page, and there you can talk to me if you want. Send me a message. Tell me how cool my music is, if you like it, or if it sucks, whatever you think, and
Good.
I always welcome that.
All right, and also my friend Vince Buffa. You can find his music on the internet as Buffa Vince, and just go check him out too. I'm sorry he didn't get a chance to call in. I know he had an appointment, and he said I might be able to call in, so we might bring him in on another show with another friend of mine, Dave Nichols from up in Pennsylvania. He's a great guitar player. We're thinking about doing this thing I want to do. It's called the train wreck, where I play the bass live and I get some people to call in on the internet and we play together. It's sure to be a train wreck. What do you think, George? Are you up for that?
I've got a name
Am I
for your
allowed?
band. You call the event the Train Wreck. I'm all for it. I'm all for on-air experimentation. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to be an impresario. I want to name the band. I want to name the band that you're putting together for the Train Wreck.
Okay.
All right.
That's a deal.
Recipe for Disaster.
All right.
Ooh, wow.
All right, that sounds good. I'll do that. Maybe next week I'll plan on bringing in
sounds
my
good.
bass
Yeah.
and we'll start.
It's got
doing
two
the thing.
meanings. That's why it's good.
It is, yeah. Maybe we should. It's too early for train wreck jokes, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot all
sorry
about
about
that.
that.
Crazy entry.
All right. Anyway, folks, thanks for listening to the show. And as always, please support local artists, local music, South Florida filmmakers.
Give them money.
musicians.
Give us
Give
money.
them money. Support local arts because art matters and art is important.
Yes, it does. Definitely.
All right, that's it for the show. Hey, George,
We're
thanks
gonna-
for helping me out.
We're going to play this out, although I think it's the same song that we played earlier
Okay.
on SoundCloud. But it's still a good one. I kept trying to click on the other ones. Just really wanted to play this song.
All right, well, we're going to put Joe and Vince's music in a rotation here on SoFlo Radio.
Yes, we are.
That's what we do, right?
Yes, we do. We steal everybody's stuff.
That's exactly. So if you want your stuff
Deal.
stolen, come over here, SoFlo Radio.
SoFlo Radio, we'll play it all day long.
All right, see you next week, folks. This is Rick signing off. Rick Show on the radio on SoFloRadio.com. Bye now.